So I left this room for like 4 or 5 days, and I tried to hack it at one of the houses here in Amarillo. It was one of my old friendish peoples from when I was like 18 years old, who I wasn't even entirely sure whether or not they were part of the bad guys or the good guys or whatever. But since everyone is part of the bad guys, and I've never met even one good guy, I had already assumed that they were probably going to fall into the bad guy category. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, I am a current trafficking victim, and there are a lot of different people in different gangs, cults, covens, groups, and organizations who are working together to have me bullied, abused, trafficked, exploited, and a number of different things. I've remained celibate for 3 years, and for the better part of 5. I haven't actually been in a real relationship in over a decade. Or potentially ever. I haven't maybe ever been in a real relationship because the only people who are ever sent to me are these fucking traffickers. And it's been that way since I was a child. So it's something that I've been trying to claw and fight my way out of. That's part of the reason why I made this YouTube channel to begin with. In the process of me being trafficked my whole life, I managed to have 3 kids, and we were all fucking held in isolation basically and treated like trash. And then all those kids were separated out, and I have my very youngest kid right here in Amarillo, who's been kidnapped by fucking child traffickers, human traffickers, the very same people who are in part responsible for trafficking us our entire lives, are the ones who have that little boy right now. So I've been out here on my own throughout the United States for years now, for like 4 years. I started off with my little boy, and we were hunted across the nation until he was taken, and my dog was taken. I lost my kid and my dog at the same time, and then I was just rendered homeless on the streets to be abused and bullied and trafficked and targeted. When I go to a trafficker's house, they generally have cameras set up, secret hidden cameras set up somehow or another, and they sell that video footage. Anyways, the people who are affiliated with the dark web and the people who are affiliated with some of that exploitation ring and stuff, that's what they do. Or they'll have cameras set up in our hotel rooms before we get here. Alright, so that's a little bit of the exploitation part and how the trafficking and exploitation part works if you're somebody who's celibate and you're not actually letting people, or you're not being forced to do things. In my situation, it's more of a let's kind of hold her hostage everywhere she goes, and let's try to make sure she doesn't have what she needs, that she doesn't have enough money, that she doesn't have, that if she has a place to stay, that we sabotage that, anything, any way that they can possibly sabotage my life in a malicious or cruel way, to try to, oppress me or keep me held back. That's what they're supposed to do. And they all think that that's funny, and they all watch each other do that. As that is live streamed, there's a lot of people who think that this is hilarious. So yeah, I met a lot of people while I was there, or over the last 4 or 5 days, who I had a really open heart to. even though I knew that they could be, you know, the bad guys or traffickers or gang stalkers or part of the genocide that's being committed. I still have a really loving heart for humanity, even throughout what's happened, and even throughout what's happened to my children and I. And so even throughout all this, I've managed to keep a beautiful open heart and to try to be as loving as possible to everyone I can. However, I do have limitations on that. I'm not just going to it's not unconditional. I mean, I do have an unconditional love for humanity, but because I'm in this situation and I've only ever been around traffickers and like bad guys this entire time, it's made it to where I have to be very shrewd, and my cutoff game has to be really strong. I have to be able to recognize who's a piece of shit and who's not immediately, and to remove myself from any possible danger whatsoever. That's the only thing that's what a smart person would do, especially if they're trying to preserve themselves for their children who have been kidnapped and things like that. Alright, so I'm out here like, I don't drink, I don't use hard drugs, because that would throw me off and it would put me in a more vulnerable state where people would definitely try to take advantage, and then I would also be exhausted. I would lose potentially days to having to recover from drugs and alcohol, things like that. I don't have that kind of time, and I don't want to feel like shit every fucking day. I have to work harder to survive than everyone else. So I really can't let my body get weak and weird and shit off drugs and alcohol and forget to sleep or forget to eat or whatever. That would be super, super unhealthy for me, and I would be run into the ground. That's part of the reason why I don't use it, and why if you're in the human hunting games or the Hunger Games or in an emergency situation, if you're being trafficked or if you're homeless, it would really be in your best interest now, as a genocide is being committed, that you, if you're going to use, I would suggest that you just smoke some weed now and then, or the CBD or Delta 8 or whatever it is in your state that's legal. I'm not trying to tell people to do illegal things, but if you need some relief, I would turn to cannabis, especially in the cannabis friendly states. In all the other states, you've got the Delta and the CBD and stuff. I would just suggest that you either work with your state to legalize it, or that you move to a legal state, or whatever you got to do. Or that you learn how to just go without everything. You know what I mean? Which is basically what I've had to do since I've gotten to Texas, because everybody's doing like this weird thing, like everybody's just acting like they don't have any smoke, like they can't help with smoke or whatever. So I've basically gone like 3 weeks without smoking. I mean, like I've smoked like a couple times or whatever, but I'm basically ready to quit smoking pot because of you know, that I just haven't been able to get any, like haven't like or like no one, like hardly anyone will smoke with me. Everybody does the other shit and they want to act like they don't have weed or whatever, so that's aggravating. By the way, I usually stay in the weed legal states. I usually don't try to fuck around where weed isn't legal, because that's ignorant. I mean, it's ignorant to not have weed legal in your state. It's hella ignorant that anyone is just able to, state by state, they're just allowed to just choose who gets to discriminate and who doesn't. But yeah, so as I was working my fucking ass off yesterday for this room, sweating fucking balls after the 3 hours of sleep I got after fucking leaving this dude's house, I initially left because I felt things were weird. I felt a little vexed, and there were 2 people in that house who kind of acted like they liked me, which was kind of like unusual. Like usually whenever I go to a place, there might be one person who acts like they like me. But in this case, it was two people, and so that was kind of weird, and I felt like I was causing strife between two people, or like that I was potentially going to cause drama between friends, and I assumed that they've been friends this whole time, and they probably have more in common than I do with either of them. So I ended up leaving without saying anything in the night, and at the time I was pretty sure that one of them, especially one or both of them, were like bad guys, the bad guys, but I wasn't actually fully sure about one of them, but I knew that if I left, if they, either one of them had a guilty conscience, that they would just assume that I'd figured it out and that I already knew, and that they would already like switch up mentally, emotionally, whatever, and that they wouldn't be like, that they would just be like, oh, she figured it out, you know what I mean? But that if the one person or the other, if the one person especially wasn't a bad guy, that he would show up and be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck happened? Where did you go? What's up? What, you know, what's going on? And he didn't. It was nothing like that. He was like, where'd you go, in text messages, and then he never read the text messages and didn't give a fuck. And then and then like yesterday, I was cleaning yards, and one of the yards that I was cleaning, the guy was like, I only have like Cash App, PayPal, that sort of stuff. He was like, I don't keep cash on me, which is really aggravating when people say that. It's stupid as fuck to not have a $20 bill or at least $100 emergency fund in your fucking wallet. It's dumb as fuck. You don't need to worry about getting $20 or $100 stolen from your wallet, especially if you're someone who fucking works a full-time job and you have a fucking bank account and shit like that. You got your own place in that shit. You really do need to have money in your wallet for emergency situations. And for all of the people who use the excuse that they only have a card and they can't help, they don't have any money, they don't carry money with them and stuff like that, you know, you guys not realize that the banks can just shut down? You can just wake up and not be able to use your ATM card. Yeah, the country of Cyprus woke up one morning to all of the banks not working. Some of them couldn't even go to work. Yeah. It does happen sometimes, so it's really weird that you guys are so worried about getting robbed or taken advantage of, or someone asking you for money, that you can't carry any money. You can't have any money in your house at all because someone might steal it. Someone might need it, and you can't help anyone because you don't do that. So yeah, anyways, I was blessed to be able to clean that dude's yard. Like, I was like, thank you, dude, God bless you. And these people who let me clean their yards, I am like, God bless you, like, thank you. It is such a big deal. I went out and I only cleaned 2 yards yesterday to make the money that I needed for this hotel. Because I already had like $13 or $16 that I'd made the day before or night before or something like that. And, yeah, I'm like all putting this together. So yeah, he was like, I can send you Cash App, and I was like, well, I might see this one dude later, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm probably gonna see him, so I was like, just Cash App him, and I can get the, you know, I can get the money from him, right? So the money gets Cash App to him, and then he shows up to the very same hotel and takes all of his shit to the fucking hooker's room, one of the hooker's rooms. Almost every one of these is a fucking hooker's room. It's either a hooker or something else, you know. Takes all his stuff over there and then like doesn't talk to me at all. Like, doesn't hand me $10, $5, $17, nothing that I need. And just fucking I guess, runs around with fucking whores and spends whoever's money however the fuck he wants all night. So I got to find out through a $20 loss, and somebody who I thought might actually be a potential person who might actually have integrity turned out to be a piece of shit bitch. And I was willing to actually work with that person a little bit, even though interacting with them for certain reasons was kind of like a rule breaker. If that person had been real, they wanted to talk about how they had my back, and all this shit, which is fake as fuck. Every time anybody says anything like that, ain't none of these motherfuckers ever had my back, ever. They'd never have any fucking reason to. He's all like, I'll have your back. But the truth is that if he'd have been real, it would have been me who had his back. And that would have been way realer than him or any of these other stupid motherfuckers having my back. Yeah. So, so it didn't really work out at the house where I tried to stay for 4 or 5 days, for various reasons. It just wasn't going to work out for me. And, so I've returned back to the, working for people house by house thing, which is awesome, actually. I don't really know how much longer I'll be in Amarillo. I have at least one more thing to do. This whole town, this whole city is so terribly overrun with fucking human traffickers, and people who are involved in committing this genocide against the women. It's almost like a gendercide more so than a genocide, because all the dudes have each other's backs to be shitty ass fucking retards, and the women are being really badly oppressed. He was even like, yesterday, he was even like, oh, just hold your horses. I'll help you get a hotel room. We'll help you, I'll get a hotel room and you could stay in my hotel room and all this shit. Just wait, and, dude was never planning on any of that. Like, he was like, just wait. He was literally trying to get me to wait the fuck outside for him to get me he was just expecting me to wait the fuck outside somewhere for him to get a hotel room that he was never gonna fucking get. And he was actually really shocked whenever I was in this fucking hotel room, and while he was moving his shit to the fucking dough pourer's room. He was like so shocked that I'd actually gotten the room and that I didn't even have the full money yet, because I guess it was his plan to just leave me the fuck out there so that I wouldn't see that he was bunked up with the dope pour next door. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story that I have for the only real, person who I thought might end up being like even remotely cool or a friend-ish person that I've met since I've been back here in Amarillo. There's a chick that I sort of thought I hit it off with for a second, and then like she, not like in a lesbian way or anything, but and then like that was like the next day it was like different, weird or whatever. So I was like, okay, never mind. There's a few times that I meet people where I'm like, this person's cool, but they end up not being cool for the most part. They turn out to generally not be fucking cool. Everybody puts their best face forward first, I guess. So yeah, this little fucking pussy bitch over here fucking stole $20 from me that I have to go out and make this morning because I fucking owe it to this hotel, even though I would have liked to go out. I mean, hopefully I'll make today's money too. It's only $55 a night here if anybody would like to help me out. $55 a night, And he was even like, oh, I tried the hotel across the way and they tried to charge me $110 because I told him that one was $50. So he was like trying to go over there and get into a hotel over there and shit, so that there'd be like maybe no chance of me stumbling across him here or whatever. But like, yeah, so over there at that hotel, the dude, like, if he doesn't like the looks of people, apparently he tells them that it's over $100, but that if he's okay with how somebody looks, he tells them it's only $50. And that's at the Budget Inn, next to the Dollhouse over here, next to the strip club. Yeah. So yeah, I got fucked over by another human trafficker, and it would fall into the category of human trafficking for you to deliberately take someone's money, and to try to play Jedi mind tricks with them, try to make sure that they don't get into a fucking hotel room that night, and you know what I mean, try to pull all kinds of crazy dumb shit. Yeah. In this situation, as I'm a trafficking victim moving throughout the United States, and this oppression, sabotage shit is what the traffickers are doing to me, it means that every single fucking person who does this to me along the way is a fucking human trafficker. So yeah, they're human traffickers who are committing gendercide and a genocide here in the United States. This is fucking slavery. The fact that I'm not allowed to have a fucking driver's license, I'm not allowed to work a real job, I'm not allowed to fucking drive, people kidnapped my kid, I'm not allowed to have real legal counsel, I don't have the same constitutional and civil rights as everyone else, and every single fucking person that I meet basically ends up being part of this human trafficking ring where people are paid to sort of like befriend me-ish, or to try to try to see if they'll be able to deceive me somehow, or act like they're my buddy for a second and then switch up. And that's what these people are getting paid to do. They're literally getting fucking paid to meet me, hang out with me for a second, act like they might be cool, and then fucking switch up on me. They paid my kids, my oldest kids, to do the same fucking thing. They've gotten I've lost my entire family, and everyone I've ever met to this. Everyone falls right into it. Everyone is into it. It's what everyone I know, all my family members, except for maybe one or two, excluding my kids, even though they're probably part of it too. Hopefully they'll be rescued from the situation while they're still young, instead of being forced to just continue on like that for the rest of their lives, the way that everyone else is. But yeah, I'm always out here keeping an eye out for real people, or I was keeping an eye out for real people, for integrity, for the good people and stuff, and in a way I'll continue to do that, but I haven't really found any yet. There might have been a couple people along the way, but I just, might have been too intimidated to try to get to know them better, or they're just too busy with their normal lives to want to have anything to do with me and with this situation. And what kind of sucked about it was that I kind of liked the guy, and I haven't actually liked anybody in like 5 years or something like that. Not like that, So it was kind of like somebody who came in and, put on the performance they would have had to put on the performance of a fucking lifetime, to even get me to like them even just a little bit. And after about 3 days, they just weren't able to, 3, 4, 5 days, and their little spell wore off, and they weren't able to fucking do it anymore, and they had to steal my money and go spend the night with the whore next door, and Yeah. And so, like, because I'm from such a hard place in Appalachia and I've lived such a hard life and I've had, like, so many people do the same thing to me, it was like, I was upset about it last night and everything. I was maybe even a little bit heartbroken because I kind of maybe did kind of feel something for that person, which does happen sometimes. I do occasionally feel something for a lot of people, even for the traffickers and stuff like that. Even if it's just a little tinge for just a second, it generally wears off pretty quickly. But you know, we gauge people when we first meet them, and we don't want to rush into gauging people when we first meet them, which is why we don't date people, get it on, and dumb shit like that within the first little while of knowing people, even if they want to be like, oh, I love you, I'm so in love with you, and it's love at first sight, and I've never felt like this before, and shit like that. You have to go about things with a way healthier balance than that, and you have to not allow yourself to be vulnerable and stupid. But yeah, so, and there's a whole other part to this story, but I'm not going to tell it yet because I feel like it is still, I don't know whether or not that aspect of things is complete or not, and I don't really have too bad of things to say about the other part of the situation. Not the same way that I have to say about a bitch who fucking steals $20 from me and goes and fucking sleeps with a hooker next door while he expects me to sit out on a fucking curb waiting for him to get me a hotel room when I would never wait on some dude to get me a fucking hotel room. Like, I already know how unreliable all of these fucking traffickers are, and that they'll bend for basically any amount of drugs, money, or sex. And they're like that across the entire nation. It's basically people who have no self-control, no discipline, no integrity whatsoever. For any amount of money, pussy, or drugs, they'll do anything to anyone. Men, women, children, they don't care. They're fucking trash. Like I said, it's a fucking genocide. Robbing someone, making sure that someone is robbed and that things are stolen from them on a regular basis by everyone that they're around, trying to make sure that someone stays on the streets, trying to make sure that someone has no identification at all and that they're just out here and they have no legal assistance, no assistance from anything. Like, people have gone above and beyond to make sure that I'm oppressed as fuck and in a fucking slavery situation. And I've been all throughout the United States for the last 4 years, and I came back here to Amarillo because I've got a kidnapped child who needs spoken up for, that everyone is taking their slow ass fucking sweet time not fucking rescuing, and the Amarillo Police Department want to act fucking ignorant as fuck over the phone. So I had to actually come here and show up in person. This is the second fucking time that I've come here to try to get my kid rescued. Only the first time it was before he got trafficked, and I was here to let them know that he was about to get kidnapped from me by traffickers, and the police didn't do anything about it. So we ended up getting hunted down, and he was taken away, and he lives with traffickers here in Amarillo, which is way more important, which is like this huge thing that I'm focused on. There's no piece of shit junkies who fuck whores who are going to be able to stand in the way of me actually giving a fuck about the reason why I came here. You guys aren't going to be able to distract me with drugs and retards and whores. As I said, I give these people a chance. They fuck up. And it's not just for me to know, it's for the whole universe to know. It's for the whole world to know. So yeah, The person who fucked me over just now and stole that money from me and fucked me around and tried to play fucking Jedi mind tricks on me and shit, his name is Chris Oles, and he's part of the Brian Deneke case. I was actually going to interview him over his memory of the Brian Deneke case, but in discovering that he's a fucking piece of shit trafficker, I'm not sure that he didn't have something to do with Brian's fucking death. And I was about to do his story and represent his story and let him represent himself as the victim or whatever. And it's like, wow, if you're one of the fucking bad guys, then how do I know that you weren't really part of... If you're somebody who just sets shit up, then how do I know that you weren't part of a fucking setup back then? You know what I mean? How do I know you haven't been doing this since way back? Because I remember around the time that happened, and I was being gang stalked before then. I was 11 years old being gang stalked before people even used gang stalking as a phrase. Before they'd even made that a phrase to describe the fucking gang stalkers. And I've heard people say don't use the term gang stalker, but gang stalker is a real term. There's new terminologies and phrases and words that come about as history or as time progresses. Gang stalker is one of those new phrases. I didn't develop that phrase myself. Other people did, and it's caught on. There is a definition behind it. So it is a phrase that I'm going to be using, and if motherfuckers want to act like it's not a real word or phrase, or that it means that you're whatever, or that it means that you're crazy, or whatever they want to say, then they're a bunch of gaslighting, fucking human trafficking pussies. And you can fucking disregard everything about them, anything that they have to say. The moment that somebody starts fucking gaslighting you, turn away from that person. They're a fucking human trafficking bitch. They're part of the fucking genocide. Alright, cool. Yeah, I'm not sure entirely how I can ask for or even accept help, because I don't have any fucking cards, because all of the cards that could possibly have been used in my name, fraud has been committed with, except for like the Zelle card or something like that. There might be like a couple that I haven't ordered, but basically all the other cards that could have ever been bought or used or ordered, I can't even reorder those cards because of the sheer amount of fucking crime that has been committed with my social security number and with my name, as these people have stolen my fucking identity and completely destroyed it and destroyed my credit, and there's no telling what they've done. I've heard that they even got arrested under my name and went to jail and everything over like a pot issue or something like that. So that sounds really bad. And they've also made websites and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, anyways, I met somebody who I thought might be genuine. They acted like they were like cool punk rocker, you know, and then within a matter of just a couple fucking days, they ripped me off for $20 and, you know, like became that, you know what I mean, showed their true face as a Decepticon. You know, so it's a good thing that I only lost $20, that I didn't lose any more than that. And that I accepted, that I caught on to what was going on, and I went ahead and accepted it and was like, fuck you, dude. And then I watched him gaslight me like a bitch and be all like, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking tell YouTube what happened. And I've already told everyone. I told him, I tell everyone, that if you fuck up, and I'm gonna put you on fucking YouTube. If you're a fucking gang stalking, trafficking bitch, I'm gonna put you on fucking YouTube. Now, since I've put about 5 of the traffickers, 10 of the traffickers on Facebook, don't get me wrong, I've met a lot more since then that didn't get put up on Facebook. But the ones who really hurt, the ones who really fucking piss me off, the ones who are really significant and substantial, those ones get talked about on YouTube. And I already made that clear. I've even told this person that I have like shorts of human traffickers on my thing. That I will make a YouTube video about it. And I guess they thought that I was playing. And whenever I told them that this morning, they were like, well, I'll sue you. You're gonna fucking sue me because you're a fucking human trafficking bitch who was set up to fucking steal from me and fuck me over and fucking lie to me. You're gonna fucking sue me over that. That's really cool. Have fun with that. Yeah, have fun with that, retard. So yeah, I hope that he feels like shit. I hope that he knows that he's shit. And every single one of these fucking traffickers who is incentivized to do dumb shit, I hope that they realize that they're shit. I hope that the other side fucking just fucking has their way with them. Because obviously there's no like people that are gonna hold any of the other people accountable. So now I just have to wait for the spirit world to hold those people accountable, and they most certainly fucking will. Cool. So there's my story about Chris Oles. Fuck you, dude.